Welcome back to the Bet Canada Challenge. I am your host, Jeff Lloyd, and today we're going to continue with our AFC West preview. And today we're going to spotlight on the Denver Broncos. The Denver Broncos were a surprise last year. Rookie quarterback Bo Nix proved to be more than ready from day one as he assisted, along with the rest of the Denver Broncos offense and an incredible Denver Broncos defense, and took the team to the playoffs in the 2024 season. Knicks with the completion percentage of over 66%. Threw for almost 3,800 yards, 29 touchdown passes to 12 interceptions, and even chipped in with more than 400 rushing yards and six on the ground. For a guy whose college career was once at a loss, leaving Auburn, it's where his father played, but finding himself at the University of Oregon and turning himself in to a first round selection. Denver was giddy to have Nix in their grasp and acquired him. They felt he was the missing link for that offense. Now, Nix was certainly ready to perform as a rookie. You look at what the Broncos had last year, and look, this is not a team that is littered with stars at skill position. So, what Nix was able to do with this offense in year one is all the more impressive. However, I do have a little bit of concern about year two. This team, in my opinion, probably could have used more juice at the wide receiver. Cortland Sutton, his first 1,000-yard season last year with the Denver Broncos. I was hoping for more. Were you going to go out and bring more in? Marvin Mims is great in his role. Devon Bell is not too shabby of a player as well. They drafted rookie Pat Bryant in the third round out of Illinois. A lot of people are high on him. I just feel at this stage of the game and the way Knicks was playing, I think he deserved more. You're not going to poo poo on the addition of tight end Evan Ingram, and to label him as maybe just a tight end could be a tad bit unfair. Evan Ingram is a high volume guy, lots of receptions, decent amount of yards, doesn't score as many touchdowns as he normally would expect for a guy with the amount of receptions as Ingram gets, but he certainly can help Denver keep the ball moving, keep accumulating first downs, keep sustaining drives. That's the type of player that Evan Ingram is. I just felt personally that I thought the Denver Broncos would probably want to give Knicks one type of big gun. Maybe they did. Maybe there just wasn't a scenario that Denver necessarily felt comfortable with. He was only sacked 24 times as a rookie. Now, what is one of the things you usually talk about with rookie quarterbacks is putting them in the correct situation to succeed. Had a solid coach. They certainly had their skill players in place and having an offensive line that can protect your young quarterback. Well, obviously that was proven and proven well as Nix was only taken to the ground 24 times. The Broncos collectively ran for 4.1 yards per carry. That's not a terrible number, but it's also not a great number. They did obviously go heavy at the running back position. Late in the offseason, they brought in J.K. Dobbins. J.K. Dobbins had a really nice bounce back year last year with the Los Angeles Chargers, and a guy that a lot of people were excited about in the draft process last year at University of Central Florida. R.J. Harvey also found his way to Denver as well. Harvey's got big playability. Dobbins still has some of that big playability, and it's even more impressive thinking about all the injuries he's had in the NFL to this point. But those two guys certainly can make big plays for the Denver Broncos. I am not ready to call it quits yet on second-year running back Audric Estime. Was a huge fan of Estime coming out of Notre Dame. In my opinion, he is the perfect complement in a running back room, especially maybe when you get late in the game, fourth quarter, where you want to run the ball, run some time, accumulate first downs, and basically choke your opponent into submission. Now, for Knicks, you hope the interception number goes down and maybe the touchdown number goes up. And that's probably more of why I'm concerned that there was not an addition and some juice given to him at the wide receiver position. You maybe look at this team now and say, well, maybe if this team had a Jerry Judy, who they traded prior to the 2024 season, maybe you would feel better about Knicks having an even bigger jump in year two. I'm Jeff Lloyd. We are talking about the Denver Broncos here. We've already done AFC West videos on the Kansas City Chiefs. We have covered the Los Angeles Chargers. And in our next video after this, we will certainly get to the Las Vegas Raiders. Now, you want to talk about what can make a defense dominant. And what is the most frustrating thing for an opposing offense in any type of football, especially the NFL? Sacks killing drives. The Denver Broncos had 63 sacks. 63 in the 2024 season. That is almost 4 per game. That is an outstanding number. Absolutely mind-blowing. But the thing you gotta keep in mind is there's not really necessarily a brand name pass rusher on this defense. Nick Benito, 13.5. Jonathan Cooper, 10.5. Zach Allen, 8.5. Those are great numbers. Those are certainly one, two, three top sack numbers for a three pass rushers in any defense. But these guys are not necessarily brand names. So that is yet another thing I feel could be an issue for the Denver Broncos in 2025. You're not going to go out again and get 63 sacks. It's just not sustainable. So this is something where they look like they could have a little bit of an issue. 3.9 yards per carry only allowed by the Denver Broncos in the 2024 season. Now, why was that crucial? 3.9 yards per carry. That was obviously keeping the opponent in passing situations and obvious passing situations, which certainly equated to the success of the pass rush to the tune of the 63 sacks that we mentioned. What also assisted with that sack number, having a secondary like the Broncos had. Patrick Surtain, Brandon Jones, Riley Moss, all great players, all great secondary players. Wasn't enough for the Denver Broncos. What did they do? They brought in Hufnaga, the safety from the San Francisco 49ers. Really underrated in his time with the San Francisco 49ers. Probably not appreciated as much on the open market as he should have been. Denver picked up 2 defenders from the 49ers defense along with Hufnaga. You also brought in Dre Greenlaw. The thing with Greenlaw, and a lot of people, we all remember, we saw the Super Bowl a few years ago, the torn Achilles. And as he was coming back, a little banged up in 2024, and had always been a great linebacker, a guy with the ability to go sideline to sideline. But now, at this stage of his career, with the injuries and understanding he may never be the 100% guy that he was then, you look at him and you say, well, how can we maybe make it a little easier for him? Well, put him in a defense that essentially plays 3-4. So Greenlaw will play on the inside, but he will not be there alone. He will also be there with Alex Singleton, who has proven to be a really damn fine linebacker in the NFL himself. The first round selection added to that secondary, Janae Barron. Now, Barron can play anywhere. He'll play mostly nickel for Denver, but this is a guy that can contribute at a safety position. This is a guy that can contribute as a cornerback position. The key, in my opinion, to the Denver Broncos and them getting to the playoffs last year certainly was the defense, and it was the efficient play of Bo Nix. You need that to continue. If the defense is going to drop off at all, you very much expect you need that Bo Nix's numbers will improve, and he can go from that 3,800 yards last season to well over 4,000. But that is where I do have my issues. I think without giving a real addition and an extra spice, if you will, to the passing attack, I think that's something that could be a problem for the Denver Broncos. If the Denver Broncos were in probably any other division, I would probably have a higher confidence level of what they can do here in 2025. I still certainly think they are capable of making to the 2025 playoffs, but I do have some concerns about them being able to put up enough points on the offensive side of the ball. The defense, again, you only gave up 18.3 points per game. You sacked the opposing quarterback 63 times. You only gave up 3.9 yards per carry. But I am not sure that all of those numbers are sustainable. And I just, in this division, the Chargers, the Chiefs, the Raiders will be better than they will. I think it's going to be difficult for Denver to take the jump in the AFC West next year. I have my confidence in the Chargers. I have some in the Broncos, but not the confidence I have in the Chargers. If I had the Chargers offense with the Broncos defense, we'd be talking about a Super Bowl caliber team. Now, we will get to the Las Vegas Raiders in our next video. Do not miss any of the NFC East videos or the other AFC West videos here on the Bet Canada channel. We appreciate you for watching here on YouTube. YouTube thinks you'll enjoy this video. We agree with him. Throw some likes, throw some comments. I am Jeff Lloyd, and we will talk again soon.